Good evening and welcome back to the Liminal Record. Grab some popcorn, grab a blanket. Let's get into tonight's stories. I was almost kidnapped in Miami because of Instagram. My best friend is an influencer. Not big time, but with a big enough following to get free stuff, and she's gotten 2 sponsored trips. She still works a full-time job but does the Instagram thing on the side mostly because of the perks. She's not big enough to live off this just yet. Anyway, this was her first trip. A little boutique hotel from Miami contacted her via Instagram and DMs and offered her an all-expenses-paid trip to Miami for Memorial Weekend in 2018, in exchange for her to be in the hotel and take pics and do a couple of stories. She was told she could bring a female friend with her if she wanted to, and everything would be covered for. This was her first time doing this, so at the time she wasn't really sure how it worked. They sent her a bogus contract for her to sign, and it said she'd be responsible for paying for her plane ticket to Miami, and that she'd be reimbursed for it later. This was to prevent a no-show, meaning the influencer gets the ticket purchased by the hotel and the influencer never shows up. It seemed reasonable. She invited me, a gay dude, instead of a female friend because she was nervous about the whole thing. We figured it wouldn't be a big deal, and worst case scenario, they don't want to pay for my plane ticket. She'd just cover it for me, and that's that. We were supposed to be picked up by the hotel at the airport, so the day comes, we arrive at Miami, and there's a guy holding a sign with her last name, and the paper has the hotel logo. We were greeted and we're escorted in a black SUV. Here's where it starts to get weird. As soon as we're going to get in the car, the driver is visibly upset. We thought he was talking to the guy who walked us over, but he was talking to my friend. He had a very thick accent and was wearing dark shades. He was telling my friend she was not allowed to bring her boyfriend, me, and that she said it was 2 girls, 2 girls. Hotel told me 2 girls. No, 1 guy, 2 girls. He was demanding to see where the other girl was. We were speechless and confused. The guy who walked us to the car looked annoyed, got in the passenger seat, and started to fight with the driver in Portuguese. It wasn't Spanish. And then he turns to us and asks where the other girl is at. My friend tells them very upset by now that there is no other girl, that she is at insert name, and that I'm just the friend coming with her on the trip. The big guy in the passenger seat gets out, tosses our luggage out of the car, and says something like, "This is some bullshit." Gets back in the car, and they take off. That was it. We were in shock, utter and complete shock. My friend immediately emails Melissa, the PR person who had been in contact through email with her, to tell her what happened. No response. We decide to take a cab and show up to the hotel. When we show up is when everything made sense. The hotel had been rebranded and had a completely different name, owner, and staff. We showed them the IG, and is indeed the IG of the hotel it used to be, but not the new one. They never contacted us. They never did anything. Whoever was in charge of the old IG account for the hotel did, or whoever got a hold of it did. Mind you, this was a somewhat big hotel account with about 10,000 followers. It was real, but upon further inspection we realized the pics were really old and so were the posts. My friend felt like an idiot and would not stop crying. We called the police, met up with a detective, but nothing ever came of it. They investigated who was running the account before, who had access to it. None of the people who used to run the account had anything to do with it. Nothing ever came out of this. It's upsetting and scary to know whoever wanted to abduct my friend or any other girls by using this old hotel Instagram knows who my friend is. The IG has since been deleted and we never heard anything from anyone ever again. But to think my friend would have been kidnapped had she gone with another girl instead of me sends chills down my spine. Be careful, and creepy hotel in South Beach. Let's not meet. At first I thought I was going crazy, but now I'm pretty sure someone has been entering my apartment while I'm at work. So this has been happening for about 1.5 years now. And tonight something happened that finally made me and my boyfriend realize that I wasn't imagining things. About 1.5 years ago, after living in my apartment for over 5 years, I all of a sudden started noticing that things would be out of place when I would get home from work. Things that almost seemed out of place on purpose to mess with my OCD. Sometimes I would notice knives that were put back into the knife block the wrong way, or little ornaments that I have lying around my house being turned to face the wrong way. Sometimes my clothes were hung up in my closet the wrong way. Little things like that where I would feel like something was off, but there was no way to prove it. And in all honesty, it could have just been me being absent-minded when putting things away. After a couple of months of things randomly being out of place, and always having that creeped out feeling, things stopped going out of place, and I put it to the back of my mind and stopped being so paranoid and moved on with my life. That is until about 2 weeks ago. For the past couple of weeks, my cat has been seriously trying to tell me something when I've gotten home from work. Any of you that have a cat will know that exact meow. It's not an I'm hungry or I'm pissed because you've been at work all day meow, but oh my god, you won't believe what happened meow. If that makes sense. I didn't really think anything of it because cats can be jerks sometimes, and I just assumed he was just bored and wanting to complain. The other day when I came home from work, though, I noticed a pair of balled up socks that do not belong to me sitting on my bedroom floor. My boyfriend came over the next night and I told him he had left a pair of his socks here when he had stayed over on the weekend. He looked at the socks and said that they were not his. My heart sunk, and so did his. We both knew that someone had been coming into my house again, and that I probably wasn't imagining it the first time. A few days later, I came home from work and found a bag from a lingerie store on top of my couch. It was empty. The bag had come from inside my house, as I had just bought a bathing suit from that store a few weeks prior, and the receipt for it was in the bag. At first I thought my cat may have dragged it in there, but upon inspecting the bag there were no teeth marks, as well as my cat couldn't have opened my closet door and gone into the paper/cardboard recycling that I keep in there on the top shelf. The final and perhaps most unsettling thing happened tonight. My boyfriend met me after work and we went out for dinner. We went back to my apartment after, and I went to unlock my door and noticed that it was already unlocked. Locking the door when I leave my house is the one thing that I'm the most OCD about. I don't just double and triple check it, I quadruple check it. It's not just a habit I have, but it's something that is deeply ingrained into me. Anyone who knows me knows this about me, as I even do it to their doors. I have to check 4 times or I get an icky feeling. Even my boyfriend was on red alert when he noticed my door was unlocked. We entered my house and I was checking to see if anything was out of place. He ran to the sliding glass door and tugged it, and it opened right up. I never leave that door unlocked. He witnessed me lock it on Sunday when I closed the door because it was getting too cold. He saw me check it 4 times. I have not opened it since then. We're both convinced that someone has been in my house. Whoever has been coming in somehow has a key. The fact that they left the sliding door unlocked makes me think that maybe they're planning to come back with ill intentions. If they have a key, why would they need to unlock the sliding door, unless they don't want to be identified by the cameras at the front of my building? Either way, I've already ordered a security system, but unfortunately it's not going to arrive for a few days. Any suggestions on anything I can do in the meantime to keep safe? Also, what do you think? Am I just being paranoid, or should I go with my gut on this one? I wish it was my drunk roommates eating my food. This is my brother's girlfriend's story. She doesn't have a Reddit, but I told her about this subreddit, and she wanted to share her story because it's creepy, but it's also to learn from. I go to a school in a big city that's one of the least safe in the US. I chose the school for nursing and definitely not for the location. I live in a row of houses off campus with 4 other girls, cheaper and nicer than dorms, or so we thought. I guess you get what you pay for. We are all girls and sophomores in college. As you would guess, we go out and drink, come back and do things we don't remember. We had just started our rent in August. 3 floors, plus a basement which was padlocked by the owners. Understandable, we would definitely have parties down there to avoid immediate cleanup. The house was great, an amazing location to the school and work. I'm a CNA who works odd hours, important for later. It was not expensive, it was in good condition. I've never lived with that many people before, just one roommate, so before we definitely knew if one of us had misplaced or changed something. I started to notice my snacks were either half gone or completely gone. I was getting annoyed, but a house of that many people, it's too much work to go figure out who ate it, so I ignored it. Slowly, as girls do, we started making comments about someone eating our food, but passive-aggressively, college girls. We all just let it go because who wants a whole house fight? I work until about 11 in the NICU. I get home around 11:30, mostly on weeknights. I started to notice pans left out, or snack wrappers lying around. I thought it was odd because one of my roommates had done that before, and just thought they probably drank a bottle of wine and then went to bed and forgot about it. Again, my roommates start making comments. This time we started to ask because it was getting annoying, all of our food being gone and things being left. I know it was one of them, but who wants to admit they ate someone else's snacks in college? Snacks are a high commodity. We chalked it up to the girl who always smokes and eats her weight in food. She swore it wasn't her. This went on for about 2 months. It got more obvious someone was clearly taking everyone's food. Definitely the girl that always smokes. I've seen her eat an entire snack pantry in a night. I wish it was her. One night at work I was about to get off, but a situation happened and I didn't end up leaving until about 12:30. I took the bus home. I carried pepper spray, a taser, and a pocket knife. I got home and I was about to collapse. I wanted to go to bed ASAP. I walked in the front door and the stairs are directly in front of you. You can also see down the side into the kitchen. I walked in and saw someone in the kitchen, but I was too tired to say hi, thinking it could end in a 30-minute conversation about nothing, so I just went straight upstairs. When I got to the second floor, I noticed all my roommates' doors were closed, which always means they're all either in their room for the night or asleep. I got a weird feeling, just something made it click. They were all asleep, right? I texted our house group chat asking if anyone was in the kitchen. I felt stupid for even asking. 2 responded no, and the other 2 said they had been asleep. I knew it wasn't any of my roommates down there at that moment. I dialed 911, but I didn't press call. I crept into my roommate's room across the hall, thankfully, or maybe not thankfully. She didn't have her door locked. I whispered, telling her I think someone is in the house. She gave me the widest eyes ever and almost looked like she was going to cry. She didn't suspect anything like I had, but for reference, we were in a very bad area, as in there was a shooting in the house 2 doors down only weeks earlier by the intruder. She mouthed to make the call. The whole time we were dead silent, and we didn't hear anything really at all. I was starting to think I was seeing things after such a long day at work, and I was regretting that I had dialed, thinking I'm going to look like an idiot when they show up and I was just overtired and dreaming. We explained what's going on, and they said they'll send someone as soon as possible, and that actually does mean right away since it's a big and dangerous city. The police showed up and I didn't even want to go downstairs, but the operator confirmed it was them, so I did. But the whole time I could swear the operator could hear my heart beating. The police came in and looked around. I'm thinking, I look so dumb. They asked if there were any other floors. We'd tell them technically the basement, but it's padlocked, so really no. They checked the basement just in case, and, well, yeah, they were right. A man had been living in the padlocked basement. Block was pulled off the hinges and just kind of propped up against the wall. We never looked at that, though, because we rarely went out back. The guy had taken a comforter off of one of my roommates out of the hall closet, had a mattress from God knows where, and his clothes, well, he was the one moving and eating all of our stuff. He would come out in the middle of the night and do it. He started getting more comfortable. I don't know if he was drugged out and forgot to clean his tracks, or if he just didn't really care. Me and my roommates have pretty consistent schedules during the week, probably letting him think that any time after 12 was good to come out. We never slept with our individual doors locked, and that's what freaks me out the most. He had access to any one of us at any moment, and we had no idea. When he was getting arrested, I was the only one to go down and look. I don't know why I did. I wish I didn't. I took a picture in the process of him being arrested to show my roommates who were too afraid to go down. This is him. So yeah, let's never actually meet, dude.